So as the SQL assistant, actually I'm getting resound. Shall I mute or can you manage it from your side? So Bteq is also a utility. Let me mute. Similar to SQL Assistant, the Bteq is another client tool for Teradata to connect and to do all the operations of Teradata, most probably. Okay, each and every operation you can perform through Bteq. Okay, when I say each and every operation, okay, it includes normal querying, report generation, okay, the export, import, okay, all the operations you can do with Bteq. So let's see the basic functionality of a Bteq. A Bteq is called as basic teradata query. Okay. Basic teradata query. Let me show you the actual characteristics. So it is a general purpose command based utility for submitting SQL's request to Teradata database. It is called as basic teradata query. It can be operated on either batch or interactive mode. Okay, so it is a command based utility. It is not a graphical user interface. It is a command based utility where it prompts will provide the queries or the request or Bteq commands. It will respond to that and then it will give the answer and then we can ask one more question. Okay, like that we can have a batch utility or interactive mode of communication with the Teradata server through Bteq. And this is a CLI based utility, that is caller level interface. Okay, almost all the command based utilities are of CLI based. CLI means caller level interface, that is the operating system can understand the commands very quickly because the commands are very much nearer to the operating systems. Okay, so these are called CLI, caller level interface. And the Bteq is supported by all types of platforms like the microsystems to mainframes. If you want to say microsystems, it is either laptops, desktops, the user single user systems to the mainframe systems. All types of platforms can support the Bteq utility. And it exports data from the client systems to the client systems from the Teradata database. So out of Teradata, we can export the data. Okay, yesterday we have seen a simple export through SQL Assistant. Okay, in a similar way, through Bteq also, we can export data from the Teradata database to any external file. And we can import the data. That means when we have data in files, we can import the data into Teradata database. And it is used to write reports. It is an easy to use report writer. So we can write some basic reports also through Bteq. But we may not have the sophisticated tools to write reports like Cognos or Buos. Okay, but there is simple reports you can write some with some basic formats. And it can have limited ability to branch forward the execution, okay, with the help of label statement. Okay. When I say this, okay, all the procedural languages, okay, where some batch of commands or some batch of SQLs are executed one by one, okay, all are of procedural languages. Right? In procedural languages, we will have some loops and basic execution branch forwarding. Okay. So here in Bteq, we don't have a complex loops concept. Okay, the for loop, while loop, if conditions, okay, all those are not there. But with another format of if condition and label, we can have a limited branching of the statements. Okay, we'll see this with examples. This is a overall view of all the operations what a Bteq can do. Okay, we'll try to see each and every operation very closely. And here Bteq does error reporting but not error capturing. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, while executing Bteq for any of the purpose like export, import, for report, if something happened, if some error happened, it will just report the error. That means it will say so and so record has the error. Yeah, but it won't capture the erroneous record in any of the tables. Yeah, because in other utilities we have a feature of capturing error record also. Yeah, that facility is not here in Bteq. That's what he wanted to mention. Is that Bteq does error reporting. Okay, it will mention what is the error, but it won't capture the erroneous record. Okay, that's what the statement means. Okay, it doesn't capture the error, but it will report the error. Okay. And through Bteq, we can execute some operating system level commands also. Okay, when I say operating system commands, let's suppose if we are working on Unix, the Unix commands can also be executed through our Bteq script. Okay, let's suppose I want to delete some file. Okay, how we can delete the file in Unix? With a command called rm. Right? If it is a DOS, the Windows operating system, then how we can delete the file? del. Okay, so like that, based on the operating system what you are working on with the Bteq, we can execute the corresponding operating system commands also through Bteq scripts. Okay, so these are the basic features of the Bteq. Okay, it is a general purpose command based utility called as basic teradata query. There are two modes to run the Bteq. One is called a batch mode, one is called interactive mode. That is a CLI based utility, that is the operations are very much closer to the operating system. Okay. It runs on either LAN attached system, laptops, microsystems and up to mainframes. Okay. It is used to export data and import data, to write simple reports. Okay. It has limited ability to branch the statements. It does not have the complex looping concept. Okay. And Bteq does error reporting only, but it doesn't capture the erroneous record. Okay. We can run the operating system commands also through the Bteqs. Okay. On which platform we are working on, the corresponding operating system commands also can be executed through Bteq. Okay. So now let us see how we can simply invoke a Bteq. Any questions up to here? Any features, any confusion, any question? Everything is clear?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's see how we can invoke a Bteq. Okay. So for any client tool to connect, we have to ensure our server is up and running. So I have made my service control as running. So my teradata is running now. Okay. Now at the prompt run cmd, that means command prompt, right? So this is my command prompt in DOS. How you can get it? In run, just type cmd and press enter or OK. It will give you a window with the command prompt. So once we have Bteq installed, the Bteq command will behave as an external command of the operating system and it will invoke the Bteq utility. So just type Bteq, press enter. Okay. Once we install our teradata demo version, it will give you this prompt. Log on to Bteq command. Okay, so we have to log on to Bteq. How similarly we log on to our SQL assistant with our DSN, which was created on TD user. Okay, similarly we have to provide all the credentials to Bteq also, so that we can log into the Bteq client utility. Okay, so how to log on to Bteq? There is a command called .logon. Okay, with the logon command, okay, we have to provide the host server name. The host server name is nothing but on which the teradata server is being installed. For this demo version is installed on my local system. Okay, and this demo version has a default host name also defined in the host logon files. The host logon name is local td. Okay, it is same for all the demo version of teradata 13. Okay, you can use this host name once it is installed on your local machine. That is local TD. After the host name, you have to give the username. Okay, what is the default user for this? TD user. Okay, press enter. Now it will ask you for the password. Press TD user again. Press enter. Okay, we will get log on to this. Okay, so how we logged on? The dot log on is the command. The host name slash the username. Okay, once you join your organization, okay, for your client, you may have to ask what is the host name for them and what is your user ID. Okay, for the demo version, local TD is the host name and TD user is the login name and password is also TD user. So I am able to log on. Okay, once I log on, I can do all the operations. Right? I can write simple queries. Select star from samples. Okay, it has given me the result. Okay, so now it is again prompting me for another SQL. I can write one more SQL. Select star from samples. See, it is giving me answers. So I am giving the questions, it is responding me to with the answer, and then again I am asking question, and then again it is responding. Okay, it is like interactive. Okay, I am very much interactively doing my queries with the teradata. So this is called the interactive mode of execution of a Bteq. Okay, where you will execute one query. After the response, you will ask one more query. Yeah. Until I get response for the first query, I cannot ask the second question. I have to wait for response of the first query. Okay, so this is called the interactive mode of execution of Bteq. It is used very less. It is just for the demonstration purpose. I have logged in as a batch mode. I have logged in as an interactive mode. Okay, but in general, we don't use this interactive mode of Bteq because in production we know, right? The production support team will bundle some SQLs, the group of SQLs, and they will schedule the scripts so that they will run automatically, and finally we will see the logs after the execution. So that is what should happen in production. It is not that production support team will write one by one query and they will see the answers and then only they will submit another query. It won't be done, right? So most probably we use Bteq in batch mode. What is a batch mode? Batch mode is nothing but group of SQLs which has to be executed in a single run. Okay, so we have to write a script which contains all the SQLs what I want to execute, and then I will run that script with my Bteq prompt. Okay, so that all the SQLs will be run at once. Okay, we don't wait for the outputs. It will give the outputs one by one again after reading the script. Yeah. So how to write the interactive, the batch mode of the script. Okay, so this is the interactive mode where I have logged on and given the queries one by one. Okay, and finally log off from the Bteq and then quit. Okay, I came out of the Bteq again. So what all commands I have used? Log on is the Bteq command, normal SQLs, and then I log off and I quit. So that I would came out of the Bteq. Okay. So now let us see how to write a batch mode of script. Just to write batch mode, I need to write a script in a notepad. So let me open a notepad to write the script. Okay. So now I wanted to write script. Script is nothing but a group of Bteq commands, SQL commands, whatever I wanted to execute it a single run. Okay. So in Bteq, first I will need to log on. Okay. To do any operation, first I need to log on. So what is the command? Log on space local TD user. Okay, in interactive mode we have written up to here and pressed enter, and then it asks the password. But here in the batch mode we have to provide the password with a comma separator after the username. Okay, this is the batch mode log on. Okay, and after log on, what I did? Select star from samples dot. select star from samples.pt, then log off, then quit. So whatever operations I did in interactive mode, I just wanted to execute as a batch mode. Let me save this script in somewhere and start my computer C. Let me create one folder. SMP. This is for sample. Please remember this name for rest of our scripts also. SMP. And this is named as 1btq dot. It is anyway that text format. Okay, 1_btq is the name. Otherwise, what you can do is the extension also can give as btq. So we will remember it is a btq script. And I have given it in quotes so that .txt is not prefixed after this. Okay, so the file name is 1_btq.btq. Just closed it. Let's see where it is. My computer C. SMP. See, 1_btq.btq. Now how to execute this script? So this is my command prompt. Right? In the run file, cmd, open the prompt, the command prompt. So here, first let us go to the folder where it is. So how to go to the folder? First I need to change the directory to the directory in which my script is residing. It is not mandatory, but if we go to that, at least I no need to give the entire path of execution every time. So I will just ensure to go into the folder in which my script is existing. So cd smp. So now I am in the current directory in which my script is existing. See, 1_btq.btq. Now I need to execute it at command prompt. So btq is the command, and we have a less than symbol for the input stream operator. Okay, so input stream operator will accept the input from the file which will be given at the prompt. Okay, so here, what is the input we are giving to the btq? The script. Okay, where the script is in 1btq.btq. Okay, now press enter. See, it has taken, the btq command has taken input from the script file. Okay, what is there in the btq file? The logon command. So it has logged in. It has a select query. It has selected, and again a select query. It has given the output, and then log off and quit. So every instruction which we have written in btq executed at once as a batch. Okay, all the btq commands and the SQL commands which are written as a script file have been executed as a single batch. Okay, so this is called the batch mode, and this is being used very much in production, right? Where we will write all the SQL commands and btq commands and can execute with the btq prompt the input stream operator. What is input stream operator? The less than symbol. Any questions? Someone is asking. Okay. So that is the batch mode. So now, in production, okay, in real time, if I execute the scripts like this, then what happens? All my output with the log information, that is the status of each and every query execution status, is displayed on the monitor itself. Okay, right? So if I execute this, and after some days, if I wanted to know how many rows were selected on so and so date, okay, or how many updates were happened on so and so date and so and so time. If those are the questions I need to answer as a production support team, can I answer this if I display everything on the monitor? Yeah. So if every day the scripts run like this, the output, the log information is displayed on the monitor. After running two more scripts, the old log will be flushed off from the screen. So you may not be able to capture the log information so that you cannot answer any questions. Right? So in order to capture the whole log information, we have to capture the output of the each and every executable statement. So how to capture that? We have a output stream operator called greater than. So here we have to give one other file name, one underscore btq.log. So this is the log information where I want to capture everything here. Okay, so after putting a output stream operator and capturing the log into the .log file, nothing will be displayed on the monitor, but everything will be captured in the files. Okay. So if I save these files every day, then I am able to access these files after 3 days, 4 days also, and I can able to see what happened on so and so date. Right. So let us try to see. I just press an enter. It has executed. So nothing is displayed on the monitor here. Right. Where it has displayed? Into the file. Where this file exists? In the current directory. What is the current directory? See SMP. Okay, so let us go and see in SMP if my log file is being created or not. My computer in C in SMP. See, one Bteq is there, and this is a log file. Okay, if you see the full view, it is nothing but the log. .log is also displayed as a text file. Okay. Whatever has happened, it is captured here. So how many rows are selected, how many columns are written. Okay, in the department table, what happened, log off, log on, time, date, when it got logged on, everything is captured for me here. So even after 3 days, if you ask me what happened on so and so 23rd May at morning 8 o'clock, how many rows were selected from this table, I'm able to tell you that because I have captured my log information with the output stream operator while executing my Bteq. Okay, and now one more thing we need to see is, okay, so this is the script. Let's suppose I have given some error. Okay, so syntax error, object not found error, right? So let's start from samples.ept. EPT does not exist, the DEPT would exist. So if I try to run any of the SQLs with an error, then what happens? Yeah, let's try this. Okay. I have an error, expected error. I'm just executing the Bteq script with an error. Now see, after execution, it doesn't display me the whole log because I have captured all the log into .log file. Okay, but the failure, the object samples.ept does not exist. So this is displayed on monitor. Okay, and what is captured in the log? The first query executed successfully. Second query, hey, it is just showing me total elapsed time was 1 second, but in the log I am not able to see the error. Where the error is displayed on the monitor here, but it is not captured in the log file. Okay. So here I am missing the total information. If there are any errors, they are being displayed on the monitor. Only the proper output, the successful output is logged into my log file. Okay. So it is not proper, right? Because after 2 days, if I wanted to see this log, can I understand that there is an error here? No, right? So there is a requirement to capture all the log, that means normal output, and the errors also to the same file, so that we'll have everything captured in a single log file, and we can go back and see what has happened on so and so day. Right? So as per this requirement, Okay, what I need to do is I have to capture my errors also. Okay, to capture the errors, okay, we need to understand some basic operating system things. Okay, let me open one more notepad to write down. Okay, in the operating system, we have 0 as input stream. Okay, that is indicated as the symbol less than. Okay, that's what we have given here. The less than, and default. Default is monitor. Sorry, default is keyboard, right? Input. So 0 is called as an input stream, and the operator is less than symbol, and the default device for the input is keyboard. Okay, this is for every operating system. Okay. And then the output is mentioned as 1 as output stream. Okay, the symbol is greater than. That's what we did, so that the output can be captured here. Because here what we did in less than, the default device is keyboard, but we have overridden this greater than with the file name, so that the operating system will understand I need to take input from the file, not from the keyboard. Okay, that's what we did. We have overridden the less than symbol with a file name in which our script is residing. Okay, so that the Bteq understands, okay, I need to get the input from this file but not from the keyboard. Okay, if I don't put this file name, if I just put only less than symbol, it will expect the input from your keys, whatever you press, the select star from the logon command, so whatever you type from the keyboard, it will accept those as input. Okay, but here in the batch mode, I don't want to give input through my keyboard, but I wanted to give my input through the file. So I have overridden the less than symbol, the input stream operator, with my file in which my script is existing. Okay, and in similar way, the greater than. Okay, the greater than is nothing but the output stream operator. Okay, it is indicated with the number 1. Then the default device is, what is the default device for output? This monitor. Okay, so if you don't give anything, it will display on monitor. But if I want to capture anything in other than monitor, I have to override it with another file. So greater than the file. Okay, it is default. The 0 is default here. The 1 is default here. Okay, the symbol, the numbers for the devices are default here. So input stream operator is 0 and output stream is 1. If I want to override, I just have to prefix the file names here after these symbols. Okay, and except these two, input and output, we have one more stream called errors. Error stream. Okay, so this is called as 2 greater than. Okay, because here the 1 is default, so even though you put or not, it doesn't matter. Okay. Otherwise we have to put like this. Here input is 0, but it is default for input stream, so we are not putting it. For output, 1 is default, so we are not putting it. For 2, it is not default. We have to explicitly mention this 2 greater than. That means the error stream. Okay. So 2 greater than is the error stream, and the default device is again monitor only. Okay, so if you don't give anything after 2 greater than, it will be displayed defaultly on monitor. But if I want to capture this, I have to explicitly mention 2 greater than and the file name, whatever it may be. Okay, so now to capture the log, what I would do, 2 greater than the file name. I wanted it in the same file in which the output log is captured. Right, so I could have mentioned like this, so that 2 greater than means errors also be streamed into the same file which I have used for the output. It is 1 symbol, right? It is 1 greater than 1 underscore btq.log. Okay, so to mention this, we have another way of and 1. Means whatever the file I have mentioned at the normal output, in the same file I wanted to capture my errors also. Okay, that is called 2 greater than and 1. That means in 1 what I am capturing, the output into the 1 underscore btq underscore log file. Now I wanted to capture my errors, that is 2 greater than into the same file in which I am capturing the normal log information. Okay, so if I press enter here, nothing is displayed on the monitor. Everything, the log information, the error information, everything is logged in my log file itself. See, not only the status but errors also are being captured in the same file. Okay, so this is how the scripts run in production. Okay, the command, the input stream which we override with our batch file, and then where to capture the log and where to capture the errors, 2 greater than and 1. Okay, so with this in production my scripts run and I can capture outputs and errors in the same file so that I can go back and see what has happened and so on so dates. Okay, so this is how we run any of the utility. Okay, so we will run any of the utility the same command. Okay, whether the commands may be different, if it is a Bteq, it is Bteq, or fast load or multi-load, anything. Okay, but the method of execution of any of the script is same, where we need to override the input stream operator with our script, and then override output stream operator with the log, and then override the error stream with the same log file. Okay, so are you able to understand how we will execute the scripts? Because this is important and can be continued with all other scripts also. So we need to ensure you understood this part here. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is some basics of the operating system, where 0, 1, 2 you have to remember, and the symbols you have to remember, less than, greater than, 2 greater than, and these are the default devices where we are overriding with whatever we need to capture.
Could you please explain the third one?
The errors?
Yeah. I mean, what is?
Yeah, normally we have 3 streams for the operating system. Yeah, first is the input stream, output stream. We know these two very well. Okay, there is one more stream called error stream. Okay, where the errors are there, it will be also captured in some place. Okay, so what are the place to capture the errors? There is also a monitor. Okay, the normal output. If I don't give anything here for the output stream, where it is displaying on the monitor itself. Okay, similarly the errors and the output, normal output, everything will be displayed on the monitor itself until unless I capture and I override these symbols. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm overriding all these operators. Okay, so less than symbol it is expecting from keyboard, but I have given a script here, and greater than symbol is expecting the monitor, but I have overridden with my log information. 2 greater than, okay, it is an error stream. If I don't give this, the errors will be captured on the monitor, but here I have overridden with and 1. 1 is nothing but the log file what I have mentioned here. Okay, so what I am mentioning here, the errors also to be logged onto the same log file which I am using for the output capture. Clear now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the way we execute each and every script. Okay. In every operating system also these are the same, but maybe the sequence could be different. Okay. In Unix, so what could happen is the sequence may be like this: 1 underscore btq dot btq 2 greater than and 1, and then 1 underscore btq dot log. Okay, so this is the syntax in Unix. Okay, this is the syntax in DOS. Okay, the sequence may be different based on the operating systems, but the concepts are same. That is the less than symbol, greater than symbol, 2 greater than, all are same in any of the operating system. Okay, the sequence of execution of syntax may be different. Okay, so that is what the batch mode is, where we can write the script and then execute and capture the log and errors into files. Okay, and now what are other operations you can do with Bteq? You can do exports. Right? So let's see what type of exports you can do. Okay, we have just seen the batch mode and interactive mode, how to log on to the Bteq. Now we are going to see the export data. Okay. So these are the modes of exporting data. Basically, what is exporting? Exporting is nothing but taking data out of teradata to a host file. That is called as the export. Right? And to export, we have 4 types of modes. What is a mode? Mode is nothing but how this data will be exported into the file. Okay, so we have the first mode called as report mode or field mode. That means it will export the data in terms of fields, like a report. Okay, what we can do with report, we can read the data, right? So after exporting the data to a file, if we need to read the data, we have to use a field mode or a report mode. Okay, so that after exporting data from the teradata database to a file, I can read the data. Okay, so this is called as report mode, where I can read the data and I can do some formatting commands also. Okay, report wide, set width, so that the width of the report can be changed. Okay, set titles on, set fold lines on, so that we can have some reporting level of commands, so that we can read the data in a better way and better formats. Okay, so that is called as a report mode, where we can read the data once we export the data into the file. There is another mode called record mode or a data mode. It means it mainly concentrating on the data to be exported, but it won't bother about will you be able to read it or not. Okay, so it is in a binary format where users cannot read out the data once it is exported from teradata RDBMS to the file. Okay, it will just export the data, but you cannot read it. That is called as a record mode or a data mode. Okay. And in the data mode, okay, we cannot identify the null values. That means, let's suppose in the table, in a particular column called gender, okay, if I have a null value, let's suppose, okay, if it is exported to a file, can a null value will be represented as a null in the file? Okay, because file is not that much sophisticated where it can identify the null values. Okay, in RDBMS, we have a features. Okay, RDBMS is a special software which it can realizes and recognizes the null values, special symbols, and everything. But okay, the data types. Okay, in RDBMS, we have data types: integer, data type, decimal, character. But in the file, in a simple flat file, can I identify the data types? Okay, it is a flat file, so there is no other data type. The all data type, okay, what it can realize or recognize is a character. Right? In file, everything is a character. Whether you have a decimal value, whether you have an integer or a normal characters, everything is realized or recognized as a character data type only. There are no other data types what we can define in a file. Okay? In RDBMS, we have different data types and the facilities to recognize null values. But in file, we don't have anything. So once we export the null values into a file, they will be defaultly converted as zeros or spaces. Right? Is 0 is equivalent to null? No. Is space is equivalent to null? No. Right? As per the RDBMS theory, nothing is equivalent to null. Null is null. It is not known value, but it is not equivalent to 0 or it is not equivalent to space also. Right? So in data mode, once if I export a null value, it will be either converted as a space if it is a character data type. If it is an integer or a decimal data type, it may be converted as zeros, because file cannot recognize null values, so it will convert them into some corresponding values so that where it can recognize that particular character, okay, 0 or blank. Okay, and this data which is now existing in the file, which is not able to recognize the null values, okay, if I download or import the data into another table, then what happens? I will have zeros imported as zeros, or blanks imported as blanks, or spaces imported as spaces. Okay, now whatever my source data is having, do I have the whole replica of data in my destination tables? No, right? Because in source I was having null values. Okay, while I was exporting the data into a file and again importing into the table, I have lost my null values. Okay, so the data mode cannot preserve the null values from source to destination. Okay, so data mode doesn't bother about the reading of the data, readability of the data, and it doesn't bother about the null values existence in the data. Okay, so the null values will be finally converted into either zeros or spaces and will be imported into the destination database. So finally I won't have my exact source replica into my destination because my null values are not being recognized. Yet to avoid that problem, they have come up with one more mode called indic data. Okay, where in indic data it will have a mechanism to recognize the null values also. So if I have null values in my source table, while exporting the data, it will have one mechanism to identify in which columns we have null values. Okay, so it will try to make some marking there in the file itself. Okay, and then while importing the data, it will read that mechanism which was there to recognize in which column the null value exists. Then while importing also, it will make those columns as null values only. Okay, so that facility is there in indic data, where while exporting it will indicate where the null values are there, and as per the indications while importing also it will import the null values as it is, so that I have my replica of source data in my destination table also. Okay, so that is called indic data. So that is the only difference in data and indic data. Okay, so data is also not readable, but the extra feature it has is the null value preservation. Okay, the null values are preserved while moving data from one table to other table. Okay, so these are the three data modes. Report mode, where you can read the data and you can set some reporting format commands to see the data in better way. In record mode or data mode, you cannot read the data. Okay, in data mode, you cannot have the null values also preserved. Okay, to override that problem, we have another mode called indic data, where the data is not readable, but it can indicate the null value, so it can preserve the null values while moving data from the source to the target. Okay. And we have the fourth data format called data interchange format. Okay, this is also called as DAF. Okay, it is nothing but exporting data into a PC enabled softwares. PC enabled softwares are nothing but Lotus 123 and a Microsoft Excel. Okay, Lotus 123 was the earlier version of Excel, where it is also in the grid format. Okay, very legacy software, you can say. Okay, in 1995, before Excel come up, okay, we have a software Lotus 123 okay, to capture the data in rows and columns. Okay, nowadays, everyone is using Microsoft Excel to represent the data in grid formats. Okay. So in case if you want to export data from teradata to an Excel file, we have to use the data format called DIF, data interchange format. So after exporting data to Microsoft Excel, I can read the data and I can apply filters. I can do all reporting kinds of functionality on the Excel. Yeah. So these are the four modes: the report mode, data mode, indic data mode, and the DIF mode. Okay. Let's try to apply some of the modes. So this is my script. I have to log on first, and then okay, to export, the command in Bteq is called as dot export, and then we have to specify in which mode I want to export the data. How many modes I have? Report mode, data mode, indic data mode, and diff mode. So one of the mode I have to specify here. Okay, let's try with the first mode, report mode. Okay. Dot export is the Bteq command. Report is the mode in which I want to export the file, and then the file keyword with the file path c:/smp, the file path in which I want to export the data in report mode. _btq dot report. That is my file extension I have given. So whatever data I give after this export command, you select star from sample cmp, and let's suppose I want to export the data of department also into the same file. I'm saving it. Now I want to execute this script. Everything is log, so let us see the log file first. So export 9 rows found, and they were exported onto file. Okay, in earlier logs we are able to see the data here itself in the file itself, right, in the log file. But here once I captured the data into the report file, no data is displayed here. It's just mentioning how many rows are found, how many columns are written to this report file, the data file, you can say. Okay, and again the next data which is captured into this data file, then quit. Now where this data is exported, the report file, where this report file exists, c:/smp. Okay, so let's see, the report file is generated. Yes, it is generated. Let's see the data now. Okay, as we have given separate extensions, it is asking that. See now, this is the data file where I have a column header and then data. Okay, this is the output of select star from employee. Then select star from DAPT. Okay. If you observe, it was having up to JOD, but the rest of the columns were not displayed in the report format. So why? Because in the report format, the screen is recognized as default 80 characters only. Okay, so it can display any of the data up to 80 characters or 80 pixels resolution. Okay, if you want to increase the width of the line, we have to set the width of the report with the command. Okay. See how to set the width. So I have observed the data is being truncated to up to 80 characters default. So I have to set the width, some 200. Okay, so it is a Bteq command again. If you observe, all the Bteq commands are prefixed with a dot. The dot logon, dot set width, dot export. Okay, all these are Bteq commands. Again, dot log off and dot quit are Bteq commands. The rest of SQLs are given as it is, and it is mandatory to terminate the SQLs with a semicolon. But in Bteq, it is not mandatory. Because the Bteq commands has to prefixed with a dot, but not required with the semicolon. Okay, in SQLs, dot is not required, and they have to be mandatorily terminated with the semicolon. That is the strict syntax. Okay. Now I am saving it because I have made my set width to 200, so that my each row will recognize 200 pixels in the report now. Okay. I will save it. I saved it. Then I am executing it again. And now see the report. Here it is.
Doubling.
Yeah, it is doubling. See, every time I execute, it is appending the data, right? So to avoid that appending, what I need to do? Close all of this first. Okay. Whenever I'm executing and I'm capturing the output to the same file, it is trying to appending the data. Right? To avoid that appending, what I could do, okay, before capturing the data into the report, if I remove this file, okay, and I then export, then at a time I will have only one iteration of the output. Right? So what I need to do, I need to remove this file, the report file. Then if I run this, we'll have only one output at a time. And set with set Bteq, spelling mistake. I'm saving it. Okay, again, what I need to do, I need to delete it. Okay. See, completely I got everything. Manager number with gender also. Okay. So now what we observed, here we have set the width to 250, so I can get everything up to 200 pixels, up to 200 pixels, right? And if you observe, I need to remove this file manually from the operating system before I need to execute, so that the append won't be happen. Okay, so instead of manually deleting this file, can I automate it in the script? Can I delete the file within the script? Okay, how I can delete a file in
Could be.
DOS? In DOS, how we delete the file? What is the command? I just discussed it. What is the command to delete the file in DOS? It is del, right? So dir is giving me the report file. I want to delete the file. Delete one underscore btq underscore rpt. You see it? See, the report file got deleted. So delete is the command. Okay. So if I can make this command in my script before exporting, then it would automatically delete my file. Right? So can I put it here like this? Delete one underscore btq dot report. Can I put it?
Yeah.
Okay. I can put the operating system command, but there is a certain format. Okay. If you remember, in the features of Bteq I have mentioned, you can run the operating systems, okay, operating system commands with a Bteq command called .os. Okay, before that operating system command, I have to use the Bteq command called .os, so that the Bteq can understand, okay, this command after prefixing of .os is a operating system command. I need to execute it on the operating system. Okay, so what I need to do now?
We have to put in prefix .os.
Yeah. .os. So .os is the Bteq command which realizes the after OS is a operating system command to be executed on the OS. So now if I save this and run it, okay, my report is there. Now if I execute, okay, let's see the report. It is one time output. Now I am not removing this manually. I am not giving a delete command here, but what I am doing is just running my script. Okay. Now see the log. What has happened? OS delete one btq and dot report is also being executed. Okay, that means it was removed and it was created with the export command. So how many times you execute, you will have only one output in the report file. If I execute it again, and if I open the report, you will have only one output at a time. Earlier it was being appended. Now we have automated the deletion of the file with the .os command, so that every time we execute the script, it will remove the file and then expose the data. Okay. Now we'll see the other mode. So we'll see the report mode, where we can read the data after exporting the file. So now I wanted to make it as data mode. So I'm just mentioning the file name also with data extension. I didn't change anything else, just change the mode and just change the file extension. That is also not mandatory, right? The report file would have the data. To make this sync, I just given the extension also .dat. Okay, I'm saving it, just executing it. Here is data. See, the data file is there. What happened? The report file was being deleted because of this OS command, and export is happening in the data mode. So let's see the data. Open within Notepad. Always see, this is the data mode. Can I read the data here? Yeah, I cannot understand the complete data, right? So that is called as data mode. It is just to transfer the data from one database to other database, maybe from other teradata node to another teradata node. That means production to UAT, or production to development, or UAT to development. If I need to move the data from different servers, I may use this data mode. In case if there are no nulls, I may use this data mode and can transfer the data. Right. So now if I execute the same, what happens? Can anyone tell me? Can you see the script? If I execute again, would it append the data to the data file or not?
Yes.
Yes, it will happen.
Yeah. Because
We didn't put in the OS.
yeah. In delete we put different file and we are exporting into different. So if I see the data, this is the data file. See? It is being appended, but we cannot realize that it is appended or not, because we cannot read the data. Right? So what we need to do in script, we have to use the same file here while removing and while exporting. This is a change. And what is the next mode? We have seen report mode and we have seen data mode. What is the next mode?
Indic data.
Indic data. Let me put extension in the data. Let me put here also in the data. Save this. Execute. See, in the data is the extension. This is also not readable format. What is the difference in data and Indic data?
It's contain the null values.
It preserves the null values while importing. Okay, so while importing only we can realize it, but by seeing the data we cannot do, or we cannot realize anything else. It is also similar to a data mode, but the facility what it has is to preserve the null values. It can indicate the null values which are exported. Okay. So now what is the other mode? What is the next mode?
DAF.
DAF. Okay. What is the purpose of DAF? To export data into Excel format. XLS. Save this, execute the script. See, an Excel file is being created here. Open it. See, all my data is exported in Excel format, which is of readable. Like this. Okay, I can use any of the 4 modes to export the data as per the purpose. Okay, if I want to read the data, report mode. If I want to move the data with no null values, data mode. Along with null values, indic data mode. If I want to export data into an Excel format, DAF mode. These are the 4 export modes. Okay. Any questions up to here?
No, it's clear.
Okay, so tomorrow we'll see the import. Okay, how we'll import, and in a single script we'll try to export and we'll try to import in the other table. Okay, so that we can see a simple demo what is the difference between data and indic data. Okay, so tomorrow we'll meet at the same time. And actually Bteq takes some more time because it has all the features, exporting, importing and everything, okay, along with the normal reporting. Okay, so we have to take some time to understand the Bteq, okay, the execution process, everything. Okay, once we understand all the functionalities of Bteq, it would be very much easy to understand all other utilities. Okay, because all other utilities are having any one purpose, either export or import, but not all. Okay, so the syntax to export or import may be different than the Bteq, but the whole process would be different. The execution process is similar. Okay, the whole process is similar, but the syntax. So if we understand Bteq, if we can put some time on Bteq to understand everything, it is very much easy to understand all other utilities. Okay, so Bteq may take 2 to 3 days, but later all other utilities will take almost 1 to 1.5 day, 1.5 hour. Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue on the Bteq to see the import functionality, and then we'll proceed with the conditional execution. Okay. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.